Hey everybody, welcome to Break Time with Pastor V. Thank you for being here this afternoon. Again, not sure what happened with me and Facebook. We had it all set up and this is what we got. So I'm going to wait just a couple of seconds for people to get over to this site and hopefully you will be here soon. There we go. Hello, welcome. Thank you for spending time with me on Break Time with Pastor V. It is good to have you this afternoon. Don't forget to say hello and let us know where you're listening from. God is good. Good to see you, Shannon and Belinda, Brother Daryl. Thank you all for being here. I can't see any others as you come in, but hey, God is good. And how are you? Really, no, for real. How are you doing? Go ahead. You can respond. I know things are challenging for those of us who are here in the Los Angeles area. Hey, Charles, good to see you from Austin. As you know, we're on a more restricted, what do you call it? Stay-at-home order. And they predict that things are going to get worse because of all the travel for Thanksgiving and stuff. So we're going to continue to pray and trust God, and that's what we're going to do. But God is good, and He's good all the time, not just sometime. And I know people say that, so it's just an automatic response. But it really is true that we have to remind ourselves that our situations may not be good, but God is good in our situations all the time. He still is in control. Which kind of leaves me what I want to just kind of chat about for a few seconds today, or minutes. And that is the idea of hope versus optimism. I was listening to something this morning and it made me think about this. In fact, it was talking about hope and optimism. And it brought out the idea that a biblical hope is based upon a person. And that person is God. So whenever we see the Hebrew words, there are two of them that were used for hope, it's always, there's just a hope based on God, but then there's also a hope that's based on God in the middle of tension. It's the idea of two ropes being pulled intently, and there's tension there, but there's still hope in the middle of that tension. And so it's based on the person of God Himself versus optimism. Whereas optimism, I wrote it down. Optimism chooses to see things as good in any circumstances, or chooses to see things in any that they will work out in any circumstances. So that they're going to work out for the best in any circumstances. And so what optimism tries to believe against the circumstances, and in the middle of the circumstances believe that things are going to work out. Whereas hope is based on trusting God Himself. And so circumstances may change, and this is how we have hope in the middle of our circumstances, whether they're good or they're bad, because our God does not change. In fact, Hebrews says that He's the same God yesterday, today, and forever. And because God is the same God, we can have that hope and trust in Him and know that He's going to work it out. I was looking at a verse in Hosea. Hosea is a prophet who had a wife who was a prostitute, and God sent him, to go get her. And Gomer was her name, and she represents Israel. And Israel had turned its back on God. And also, let me give you a little more information. There's a dude named Achan. Israel was fighting an army, and God told them to destroy everything. And Achan took a couple of things and hid them in his tent. And when he did that, they lost. Israel lost. And so basically they were sent in the camp and no one understood where, but God led them to Achan. And Achan and his whole family were destroyed. They were destroyed. They were actually set on fire. Yeah, that's awful, isn't it? And all their stuff was burned, and their stuff was burned, and rocks were thrown at them. They were stoned. But in, let's see, where was it? Hosea 2, verse 15, we're talking about hope. Just remember Achan's a person, right? It says, there I will give her vineyards back, talking about restoration of Israel. I will give her vineyards back and give her vineyards back to her and make the valley of Achor The Valley of Achor is where Achan and his family were destroyed. So it says, there I will give her vineyards back and make the Valley of Acorn into a gateway of hope. Wow, it's awesome, because that which was known for destruction, that's what was known for loss. God says that, hey, there's restoration in relationship with me, and he turns that Valley of Achor, which was an awful place, into a valley of hope. There she will respond as she did in the days of her youth, as the day she came out of the land of Egypt. And we see this process. While we have hope in God in the middle of awful situations, awful circumstances, because our hope is in God who is faithful, but part of that hope involves looking back and seeing what God has done. And so because of the looking back and looking at God's track record, we have hope in his character of what he's done. And so God is awesome, and we serve a great God. And I'm sorry, y'all, that's someone calling me. I'll call him back. He's a great God, and we continue to serve him and worship him. Okay, with that being said, hey, this is real life. I got a call from someone that's in a hospital, so I'm going to take this call. But God bless you, and remember, in fact, this person that's calling me is probably one of the most hope-filled people I've ever seen in the middle of devastating circumstances. Alrighty, so God bless you. Thank you for coming and to tune in to Break Time with Pastor V. And remember, we serve the God of hope. Alrighty, thank you. Have a great day. Blessings to you all. That was Shirley.